Generally, we might know, like we might heard different things which are related to web forms. Now, web form is nothing but a part of our ASP.NET web application framework, which is the which is included in Visual Studio. So generally, we did a programming generally like file new project, something like that for console applications, right? For doing
Yes.
in ASP.NET applications or for interacting with web forms, our approach will be a bit different. We need to select a different template in order to do programming with web forms. Okay. So generally, web forms will be broadly divided into one of the four programming models in which ASP.NET web applications, others are ASP.NET MVC, and others are ASP.NET web pages, and ASP.NET single page applications. This was the broad categorizations of our web forms itself. Okay. So
There's something
now
called API and all also, no? What is
that is
that's
nothing but
different?
different web APIs, application programming
Okay.
interface. That is like
Okay.
different from all these things. Like you may have web services, WCF, and then web API. Okay, basically services, like services oriented architecture will start with web services, and then enhanced model for web services is WCF, enhanced model for
So
W.
you will be talking about web services like SOAP and all that.
Yes, same.
Okay.
SOAP is like that is a basic component for service oriented architecture. So advanced is WCF,
Okay.
and next advanced version is web API. Okay,
Okay.
that
Okay.
is a different different classification which won't comes under the web forms.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, see, generally, suppose when we are working with any of our web based applications, not only with ASP.NET, how our communication model will be there. Now let us check. Okay, generally I want to explain how our communication model associated with our web based applications. Say for example, see, as a client is going to send a request to one of the web-based application. Say, for example, I want to know, book one of the website. So I want to check. Sorry, sir. I want to book one of the flight ticket. So usually I'll go with like make my trip or something. So I type make my trip means as a user I send request to make my trip. So make my trip opens one of the landing page. In that landing page we are passing some inputs to that. Once we pass some inputs and when you click on submit button, then automatically it will process at the server end and it generates some result to the end user. This is the usual process, right? So that process we'll see like how we are going to send a request. So this is nothing but your client. So client is nothing but a normal user, like say for example we as a client, we are trying to interact with one of the application. So that interaction should be done via internet itself. Okay, means we require some sort of a browser. By using our browser only we are going to navigate with something. So consider this medium is nothing but a browser where we will pass some input. So like www dot any of a flight booking system rahlot.com, which is one of the flight booking system. So I'm trying to pass some pass a URL. So whenever we pass some URL, it is going to hit to the server, and it generates one landing page for us. So as a these things will be processed at the server side. So consider this as a server. This is a server in which through internet, so server communications will be established. So before going to interact with server, so just here some sort of implementations are there. So nothing but client side validations. So client side validations will be taken care by the browser. So this is my client side validations. Client side validations. These are all are taken care by the browser itself. Okay, browser will take care of the client side validations. If client side validations are passed, then only it allows to hit to the server. This is the server. and now server is going to be processed at their end. Means the processing is nothing but consider this as a database. Means it interacts with the database, and all the database operations are going to be handled here, and some communications will be established in between your server and database, and finally once the result is prepared, that result will be forwarded to one web page, and finally that web page is displayed to the end user. This is the process where in which our web application is going to be like sends a request to the end user. Okay, client is nothing but an user like user is going to be send a request to the server through browser, web browser. So in our web browser we typed some of the input whatever we required. So once this request is going to be like hit to the server where we pass some input fields to the server. So before going to hit to the server, those are checking with an client side validations whether they are passing the proper inputs or not. If client side validation said that if it is okay, means all the validations are true from client level, then it will forward to the server. Server is going to be send that request to the database if it is required. So database like it checks all the results and provides and some kind of results to the server. Again server send to the browser, and browser we are visualizing that output, and that output is nothing but our final form of an information which we are intended to do or which we are intended to receive from the server. So in this way our communications will be established with the help of our ASP.NET web form. Okay, that I put it in a like explanatory part. Web forms are pages that users request using their browser. These pages can be written using a combination of HTML, client script, server controls and server code. When user requests a page, it is compiled and executed on the server by the framework, and then the framework generates HTML markup, and the browser can render an ASP.NET Web Forms page presents information to the user in any browser or client device. You know, whenever we are interacting with this process, so generally we want to know what type of things that we want to we want to ensure all the browsers is going to be understand whether our input may be understood by the browser or not, that we have to know, right? So generally whenever we are going to do a program with ASP.NET, which involves a different ASP.NET is not at all a programming language, which is a technology. Okay, technology is nothing but it's a combination of multiple entities. Okay, in order to design, it requires HTML page and it requires a CSS. In order to do client side scripting, it requires a JavaScript or jQuery. Okay, in order to do server side programming, it requires a C#.NET or VB.NET and anything. In order to do interact with a database DB operations, it requires a database programming language, that is SQL or Oracle or MySQL, anything. Okay, all these entities, so by combining of all these entities only, we are about to develop a web-based applications. Okay, so now see, is only the HTML is only the component that which is understandable by the browser? Yes, we can say only HTML only can be understandable by the browser. So no other language can't be understood by the browser, so that we can write, means here one process is called rendering process. So, generally whenever passing and controls, ASP controls, we have two types of controls: HTML controls, ASP controls, and another categorization is also there, that is nothing but validation controls. Suppose if you are using ASP.NET controls, ASP.NET controls are run at server side. Okay, then those controls are converted to HTML controls at the time of rendering a page. Means the page is, first of all, when we submit a request, even though our page is an ASP.NET page, that is converted to HTML page, because browser can only understands HTML language. Okay, that is the reason where for our for designing purpose we use HTML, and sometimes we used HTML controls, and sometimes we used like server side controls, that is nothing but ASP.NET controls or JSP controls, anything. Okay. Okay, this is the programming model for our ASP.NET web forms. Okay. So generally, by using Visual Studio, you can create ASP.NET web forms. So for this, we required, integrated development IDE. IDE is nothing but, we are using Visual Studio, right? So generally, whenever we are going to work with an ASP.NET, generally we are dealing with multiple number of controls, text box, like button, and then we have list box, and we have combo box, check box, and radio button. We have different controls. Each and every control are available in our toolbox. We simply drag and drop, and whatever the business logic that is required, that we can do as per our requirement. Okay, here drag and drop facility is one of the one of the advantages technique with ASP.NET. Simply we no need to write a code for our control. We simply drag and drop and double click on that, and whatever the code that is required, we simply write that code and we'll do our programming itself. Okay. This is the thing where we can use in our ASP.NET web forms. And here it provides a flexible mechanism. IDE provides a flexible mechanism. If you want to know the properties, simply by clicking F4 we can get the properties of particular controls. Okay, if you want to interact with server, we have an server explorer right side of our Visual Studio, and all the things makes us very comfortable to work with ASP.NET with the help of our Visual Studio, so in which we are going to develop an ASP.NET Web Forms application. Okay, as you know, it also supports IntelliSense facility, that is also available with our ASP.NET, and we can create our multiple number of files, folders very easily with the help of our Solution Explorer. Okay, all the things are common. Some things are common which are there in our console based applications. Okay, some things are new which are not available with our console applications. Okay.
Yes.
So just I will provide this this content part, just to have a go through this. We have different
Okay.
types of features, all those things are available in the content. Now let us see how we are going to work with our ASP.NET, basic things that I'm going to cover here. Okay.
Okay.
So just I want to create new folder, that is ASP.NET. See, the process of opening up our ASP.NET application is something different. So just go to file, new. So far we clicked on project only for console applications. Now we click on website. Okay, this is nothing but ASP.NET applications. We have a different templates like ASP.NET empty website, ASP.NET web form site. We have different. For time being, we are going with an ASP.NET empty website. Later parts we'll see what are those things. Okay. So I want to browse my things, and I want to choose my path wherever I want to save this. So our main folder name is online app under ASP.NET. I select that path and click OK. Automatically you will get our server explorer. This is our server explorer, and this is your toolbox, and as well as control alt L, in which you have a solution explorer. All the things are there. Okay, suppose if you want to create any web form, this is the step. Go to the solution explorer. So right click on this, and right click on this, click on add new item. After clicking of an add new item, all templates are available for you. So just we required a web form, right? So I required web form. See, your web form will be extended with .aspx, means ActiveX server page extension. Full form is okay. All extension is, suppose if a website is developed with ASP.NET, you can observe that if an extension is .aspx or .asp, then you can understand that that is developed in ASP.NET. If the extension is .php, then you can understand that that is developed in PHP. If the extension is .jsp, you can understand that that is then developed in Java. Okay, now I want to give a name like that is nothing but a home.aspx, and click on add. Okay, don't consider these parts, we'll come to these parts later. So click on add. So now our web page is created, means our web page is available for us to do some programming. Okay, I already told you now. So this is a typical HTML page in which we are going to write some kind of tags, that is ASP.NET tags. Okay.
Okay.
Here, this default content which is available for us. For this page, we have a two views. One is a source view and other is a design view. Design, when you
Okay.
click on designing, whatever that you are present, that thing will be available for you. Suppose I'll go to the source view. Suppose I want to write something. Okay, this is your first ASP.NET page. Just I want to write something here in div tag, so that will be, when you click on design page, that will be available for you. Okay, so
Okay.
generally I hope that you have a bit idea of HTML, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little
Okay.
bit, not too
Yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Little. Yeah. In body part only, we are going to write anything. So which we
Okay.
want to display to the end user. Whatever the part that is available in your head section, this part won't be visible to the end user. Only this part will be available to the end user. So head part
Okay.
contains CSS, style sheets, meta tags, JavaScript files, jQuery files, all will be available in head section. Means this section is useful for us to support our programming, to support our page. Okay, in order to support
Okay.
like good styles and good designs, we require some CSS. All CSS are will placed in head section. It won't display to the
Okay.
end user, but internally, it supports our web form or a web page.
So that applies to all everything that's there in the body, right? If you put it in the head.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So now let us say this is your first ASP.NET page. See, I want to display one control. Okay, one control, that is nothing but button control. So generally ASP, this is the predefined tag, colon, you can put button. Okay, so just automatically it will come. So every control contains some id is nothing but which is an representational part for every control. This id should always be different with another control. Say for example, if I have a 10 controls which are available in this page, every control id should always be different. Okay, suppose I give btn, submit as a button name. Okay, run at equal to server. So this is as I told you, this is a ASP.NET control. All ASP.NET controls are run at server side. So that's the reason this tag is most important for us. All HTML controls are running at client side. All ASP.NET controls are run at server side. So run at equal to server, and if you want to display some text for the button, so the text, you can use the text as an attribute property. In that property we are going to pass some whatever the information that we required. So we required submit. See, now submit button is available for us, right? So I have a submit button. If I click on submit button, I want to do something. So those things are available when you write a code. Okay, so now before going to write a code for this, we have a two concepts, that is a in-page code technique and code behind technique. So those things we will cover and then we'll go with the programming. Okay,
Okay.
in-page and code behind techniques. In our ASP.NET, we have a two different types of techniques. Okay, in-page and code behind techniques. So those things we will cover here and then we'll go with them. So before ASP.NET, we have one more programming model, that is nothing but ASP, ActiveX Server Page. Okay, before ASP, before .NET, we have something that is called VB6, that is also Microsoft programming platform. Okay, VB6 contains VB.NET as a window-based programming language in which
Mm-hmm.
web-based applications are developed with the help of ASP. Okay, after introduction of .NET, so we have multiple programming languages. So in which for web-based development we are using ASP.NET. Okay, in ASP the phenomena is only one page will be there for our coding and as well as for our designing approach. Okay, in-page technique means if you want to implement in-page technique in ASP.NET, we have to write a design code and business logic in a single file called ASPX. Suppose this is a page, right? This is a page.
Yeah.
This is our ASP.NET page. Consider here this is for design purpose. Whatever we written here, that is for entire design purpose. Design purpose means we have to visualize the thing which is available, which is required for the end user. For coding page, when you click on F7 shortcut key, so this is nothing but a coding page, home.aspx.cs. Okay, CS is nothing but C sharp. If you choose our template as a C sharp, then it will give CS. If it is a VB, it will give .vb as an extension. Okay, for all the business logic code will be available in this page. This page is for UI purpose, means user interface purpose. Okay, in earlier ASP, in our earlier programming language, in in-page technique, all our business logic code and all our designing code will be in same page. Okay, so means here it indicates that separation of concern is not there. There is no separation. Everything is available in the same page. That is one of the drawback for ASP. Got my point? Here we have two separate pages for coding and as well as for designing purpose. This is for designing purpose. This is for our business logic implementation, nothing but our coding purpose. But in our ancient ASP, all the things like coding and designing will be associated in the same page. The technique we will call it as a in-page code technique. Okay, so disadvantages with that programming model is, suppose this is in real time implementations, our design page will be taken care by our designers like web designers. Okay, so they do their designing and we are going to develop our own implementations itself without dummy designs. Okay, so then our productivity will be improved. They can work parallelly and we can work parallelly because we have two different pages. But whereas in page technique, everything should be in same page so that we have to wait for the delivery. Until and unless if they don't deliver, then automatically we should wait our ideal time. Programmer ideal time will be wasted. Okay, because once we're done with the designing, then only we'll go with our programming. This is the way how we work with in our in-page coding technique. Okay, so that is an old approach. Now code behind technique. Code behind technique means in code behind technique, design part will be right in one file and business
Mm-hmm.
logic will be written in another file. That is nothing but in .aspx we written our design part, and .aspx.cs we written our business logic part, in which our coding approach is code behind technique. ASP.NET supports code behind technique. This is an advantageous technique because this will be handled by the designers, this will be handled by the programmers. Okay, there is no need to wait for their design. Simply we'll go with our dummy design and we'll do our programming. Okay, and one
Okay.
more advantage is whenever we are going to run our web-based application, so just click on this. Just I want to show you something to you. So this is my page, right? When you click on Control U or right click on View Source, View Page Source, you will get entire code which is available in our design page, right? This code.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
whenever our ASP page also, our if our business logic is available here, everybody will copy the code, right? So in our ASP.NET we can't see our business logic. We can visualize this design part, but we can't see our business logic code by simply going with a view source or something. Okay, means the security is not available for our business logic code in ASP, but here in ASP.NET security is available for our business logic code. Okay, these are the advantages with our ASP.NET code behind the technique.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is the approach. So you can understand our design will be associated with our design page, and our code, if you want to do some coding, that will be there in our .aspx.cs page. Okay, suppose when user clicks on button, okay, when user clicks on button, I want to write some kind of alert. Okay, so generally double click on submit, then automatically, this is our control, right? Click on F4, you will get the properties of this control. Okay, or right click on properties, automatically you get this information. So this text is submit. If you want to write something, submit button, automatically that will be reflected here itself. Okay, whatever the controls all are available here. This is ID. So as I told you, suppose if you want to change the background color, you can make it to this. Okay, your background color will be changed. Okay, we have
Okay.
different things which are available. Now these are the events. Okay, click event. So generally event is nothing but, I already told they are intended to do something. So those things are achievable with the help of these buttons itself. So double click
Okay.
on this button, you will get an event that is nothing but a click event. So BTN submit is nothing but our ID of our control. Click is nothing but event for the particular control. Okay, so here this event, when you double click on this event will fires. Okay, here I want to write something, response dot write. This response and write is nothing but console dot write line, as similar to console dot write line in our console applications. Whatever we write here, that will be displayed on our web form. Okay, welcome to my first ASP.NET web forms page. Okay, so just I want to run this one. For running, click on F5, same thing. When I click on this, I will get some information. Welcome to my first ASP.NET web forms page. Okay, so like this. So generally I want to put some breakpoint here, so in order to understand how the flow will be. I click on this button, automatically it will hit to a button and it will be displayed for us.
Okay.
Okay, so now I want to write something. I'll comment this part. I want to display one kind of alert. Okay, response dot write. So alerts, so generally we will write that in a script tag. Okay, because this is a JavaScript alert. So that's the reason where we want to embed every JavaScript code under script tag only. Okay, we want to open our script tag and we should close our script tag. Okay, here alert is one of the, like provide some alert box for us, so in which I want to write some matter, like I want to write some info. Welcome to first page of ASP.NET. So just I will close my alert, and just I want to run this page. When I click on this button, you will get some alert prompt. You will submit, so you will get some kind of alert here itself. Okay.
Okay.
So in this way, like we'll do a basic programming with the help of our ASP.NET controls. Okay. So I already told so we can do our programming with help of a drag and drop facility also. That we'll see how drag and drop will be there. See, this is the page and this is the toolbox. For opening of a toolbox,
Okay.
we have a shortcut key, Alt Control T itself. Sorry, Alt Control X itself. That is nothing but a toolbox. So Alt Control X, this is a shortcut key for our toolbox. Suppose if you want a
Okay.
button, so just simply drag and drop the button wherever it is required for you. Okay,
Okay.
simply go to the source, your button code will be appeared for us. If you are interested to write a code, you can write. Otherwise, simply drag and drop and place whatever you want. Okay. For every control, you have to give a proper naming conventions. Okay. I'll provide you the naming conventions how to give different controls. See, for button time being, you can understand. For button, you can start with the BTN. Okay, if it is a like submit button, give the name as btn submit. If it is a clear button, you can give the name as btn clear, something like that. Okay, you can provide whatever the things that you require. So here button 1 by defaultly, whenever we drag and drop, by default it will give us the count of the button. So button 1, button 2, like that it will provide. But good practice is try to change your id and give the meaningful id for that. Okay, so here that changing you can pass here also, or through your design also we can make a change. Okay, I want to change my button 1 here, so id, so just btn, I gave a name as navigate, btn navigate. Okay, so this button is there now. Just click here to navigate to my blog. Just I gave the name here itself to navigate my blog. Okay, so now here what my
So
intention
if
is.
you want to make this button in the center or something, so for
Yes,
that you have to use CSS,
yeah, for
or
that,
is it?
yeah, for that we use a css, and we use the tables and all those things that will come to
Okay,
the
okay, and
later.
alignment.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, suppose this is a button. When I click on this button, I want to navigate to my blog. This is my requirement, right? In order
Okay.
to do that, so generally we have one coding approach that we can do. So generally, I told you yesterday we already discussed about like delegates and events, right? Delegates and events. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, one another approach is double click on this and we'll write a code. That is one approach, and
Right.
this is the second approach that I want to give to you. So what is our button name? Button ID. So my button ID is nothing but navigate, right? btn navigate. My I have a one event that is nothing but a click event. So this is nothing but, here you can see, this is nothing but your event handler. Okay, when you click on click and plus equal plus, type plus and the type equal to, and click double tap. This is nothing but through event handler we are trying to call navigate click button. So whenever we are going to double click on this, you will get this the same thing, but through event programming we can do like this also. Got my
So
point?
what is better? It is better to put it in page load or better to put on the button
No.
click?
You have to put it that in page load. Suppose if you want to call through event handler, you should always put your code in
Okay.
event like page load, and this will be
Okay.
here itself. Okay, so
Okay.
here you have to write your code, whatever the code that is required for you. Suppose I want to navigate to another web page, right? So here we have one code, like one method that is nothing but response dot redirect. In that redirect we'll pass whatever the we'll put like whatever the url that we want to like to transfer, that I will give you. CO Virendra, I want to navigate to my blog, blogspot.in. Okay, suppose when I click on this particular navigate button, so first for everything it hit to the page load. Okay, that you can understand here. For everything it will hit to the page load. Okay, even for submit button also, suppose I click on submit button, it comes to the page load, and then it will comes to the particular submit button. Okay, that we will understand. We have a concept called ASP.NET page lifecycle that I will cover in next session. Okay, so that we can understand what are
Okay.
the different types of events which are associated with the page load and all those things. So now click here to navigate to my blog. When I click on this, it will come to the page load and then navigate to the particular click event. So response.
How do you add these breakpoints? I
Yes,
forgot.
I added.
How do you add them? I
Okay,
forgot that.
okay, you want that. So simply see, suppose if you want to add a breakpoint, simply the cursor where you want and click on F9.
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 Okay.
Or else simply get the cursor here and simply click on here. You will get some bubble.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to disable your breakpoints, go to the debug mode and you can click here disable. Means
Okay.
disable means it won't execute each and every time. If you want to
Okay.
disable all your breakpoints.
Okay.
So now I want to run this page again. I want to execute that navigate button. So now all my breakpoints are in disable mode so that it won't hit to the code. Got my point?
Okay.
Yeah. So in this way, drag and drop facilities are available with our, our controls. So this is the simple IDE for our Visual Studio. So total is Alt Control X. So Alt Control X contains, whenever you are in a running mode, you won't get a toolbox. Toolbox won't open. Okay. So
Right.
just you can stop your running and you can see. This is your toolbox and this is your server explorer. By using this we can connect with the database. Okay. And team explorer, so this is not at all required for you at this point of time. Solution Explorer, this is not what where it contains a collection of all files information here itself. Okay. This is whenever you want to know the properties, simply click, just right click on this and go to the properties. You will get the properties window. So this is a typical IDE of our ASP.NET Web Forms application.
Okay.
Now we will see what is an HTML control and what is an ASP.NET control and what is the difference in between these two controls. Now let us see. Okay. Now let us see what is an HTML controls and what is an ASP.NET controls. Okay. In our toolbox, we'll see we have a different categorization of controls available here. So first set is nothing but standard controls. Next is nothing but data controls. Next is validation set. Next is navigation set. Next is login set. Next is web parts, Ajax extensions, dynamic data, reporting related controls, HTML related controls, and general controls. Okay,
Okay. This is all under toolbox, right?
yeah, these are all under toolbox.
Okay.
Now, the basic difference between HTML and ASP controls is HTML controls are running at a client side, means browser only running our HTML control.
Okay.
Our ASP.NET controls is running at server side, means our server can understand, server can run our ASP.NET controls, server only can understand our ASP.NET controls. That is the difference. Okay, then which control provides a, more flexibility to the browser means always HTML controls provides more flexibility to the browser. Okay, why? Because browser is only understanding our HTML language, so that we can understand, so that it is very easy to process our page to the browser when we write our code in HTML. So generally I want to show you something. Just I want to run this page to you. So once after the running of this page, just I want to see the control u means page source. Okay, we written our code, right? So what we written here, we written our code ASP.NET ASP button ID submit run at equal to server test equal to submit button, something like we written a code, right? So
Right.
after visualizing here, see, it will be converted to HTML control. Input type equal to submit, name equal to btm, value equal to something. You won't find run at equal to server here. Have you found something like run at equal to server?
No.
No, nothing. Why? Because your browser can't understand your ASP.NET control. So that at the time of page rendering, means at the time of page processing, all your server side controls will be converted to the client side controls. That is nothing but HTML controls. Then only
Okay.
your browser will understand your control information. Otherwise, it won't understands our controls information. Now let us see
Okay.
something which is related to this. Suppose if you do something, means if you want to write something like ASP controls, so generally our code will be like this: ASP. Okay, suppose if it is a text box, so ID is always required must. So we'll give for text box, we'll start with the txt. Suppose if it is related to name, just I want to give this as a name. uh, yeah, for this ID, so just we want to pass runnet equal to server, and text, this is also one property where we'll pass some information, right? So generally for usually for text box we don't want to give a static text, so we allows us to pass a dynamic text from the user perspective. Okay, in the same way
Okay.
for our HTML control, so if you want to take a text box, so like this: input type equal to double quotes, will pass it as a text. Okay, so here also we'll give id or name itself. Say id equal to say txt name. Just we'll close our tag like this. This is our HTML control. So we can provide this as an HTML control, and we can make this as a server side control. Okay, if we are using an HTML control at our ASP.NET applications, okay, that control can't be like, that control we cannot access at server side coding. So let me show you this. I want to write one of the HTML control: input type equal to, so for example, text. Text is nothing but it indicates that this is a text box. Okay, id equal to txt name. I want to give some name to this and something. Just I'm going to run this page. Okay, you are going to visualize one text box here. Okay, so just I want to run this one. So just I want to pass something. I want to pass some name here itself. Okay, just I can't do anything with this. Just this is for the purpose of visualizing purpose. Say for example, I want to declare one more text box that is nothing but an ASP text box. So just I'll give BR break, nothing but it is going to display at next line. ASP text box ID equal to txt. So for example, my name. Okay, run at equal to server. Okay, so just I would like to close my tag itself. Suppose after whenever user pass like whenever user ends some information here, when user clicks on submit button, I want to do something. Means I want to say some alert, welcome, something like this I want to give to the particular user. So just I double click on this. I want to comment this line. I want to comment response dot write. So just I want to write something response dot write. So use a scripting time. Anyway, I'm going to use a alert only script.
You don't have to write script is a JavaScript. Type is equal to JavaScript.
That is not at all mandatory. That is optional.
Okay.
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 So alert. Suppose whatever the name that user is going to pass in text box that I want to display here. See, welcome plus txt. We have some text box, right? Txt my name dot text. See, to my class. Like that, just I pass some information. Txt my name dot text is available here itself. Okay. So generally, when I click on txt, so I have one more control. What is that control? So text name. So I have two controls, two text boxes: txt my name and txt name. So when I am typing something txt, my name is not going to visible here because that is an our HTML control. HTML controls cannot access at server side. So just they are using for the purpose of just visibility purpose, like UI purpose only. We can mention that like at a design page that can't be accessible at server side. So that is the reason where we are depending on ASP controls, because we might use that controls information at server side code, right? Suppose I have a two inputs, I want to pass two inputs to the server. If I depend on HTML control, those inputs are not able to come to the server. I can't do any programming on this. Okay, that's the reason I
Right.
would like to take that as my server control. Okay, so just I want to run this page. So just we want to understand how our code will be. So here this is our server side code. Just I will pass Rekha. So welcome Rekha to my class. Something I got some dynamic output here. Depends on my input. What are the input that I passed here? Okay, that is an advantage with our server side control, and that is the disadvantage with an HTML control. But the
But
performance
then you
wise,
said automatically at runtime it will change it to
yeah,
HTML
yeah,
control, right?
it changes to HTML control, but it doesn't impact our programming. It only impacts to the browser to understand the server side code to the client side code. Okay.
Okay.
Did you find any impact, whether any impact on this program? No, right? Because
No.
even though that is
No.
in server side control, at the time of browser rendering, it is considering for their understanding purpose to client side control. So
Okay.
no matter whether it is a server or client at source code, but it is doing our purpose, right? Suppose how about to convert our HTML control to server side control? Yes, we have one more technique. Suppose this is our HTML control, right? If you are using runnet equal to server tag, then automatically it will convert to server side control.
ESP.
Okay,
Okay.
ASP control. So just I want to write something txt. Just I want to close this. Sometimes if IntelliSense is not working, means the solution is you have to close your ASP like Visual Studio and then reopen it. Then automatically you get that. Okay, txt. So now name is available for you, right?
Okay.
So here generally for HTML control it is a value. For ASP.NET control it is a text. Okay, light differences, slight differences in between properties of our HTML controls and server side controls that we'll get to understand at the
Okay.
time of programming. So just here I'm passing what are the value that is there in my name dot text. Did you understand what I'm trying to write here? What are the value that is
It's
there
the
in my
same
name?
thing, right?
Same
Yeah.
thing I'm assigning to my text box.
Okay.
Suppose here I'm passing like if I click on the submit button, so automatically my text box is also filled with the same name. Okay. In this is
Okay.
the difference between your HTML controls and server side controls. Okay.
Okay.
We have a term called rendering. Okay, so this is the most important interview question, and everybody asks what is a rendering. Okay. It is a process of converting server side controls to client side control. Browser can only understands HTML controls information. That is the reason rendering process comes to the picture whenever we are dealing with server side controls. Okay, so generally rendering is a process whenever we write in our code in server side controls code, then automatically it converts our rendering process will comes to the picture. Okay, rendering process is nothing but converting of our server side code to client side code. Why? Because our browser is only understanding our HTML code. That is nothing but client side code.
Okay.
Okay. Now let us see a basic examples on ASP.NET controls. Okay. Just I want to take one more web form in order to do programming. So just I want to go to the Solution Explorer. So just right click on this and click on new item, or directly you can click on web form also. Okay. Just I want to give the name as basics ex dot ASPX. Okay. So here
Okay.
I want to write something in my page itself. Okay, in my page level. Suppose this is my page, right? I don't want to go on source. I want to go on design itself. So just I want to take two text boxes. No, three text boxes, three labels, and two buttons itself. Okay, this is my requirement. Just I want to take something. So in order to provide my controls in a best alignment purpose, just I want to take a table itself. Just here we have a table, right? So click on insert table. Just you can provide the number of rows and number of columns that you require. So I want two columns. Two columns is enough for me. So just I want the rows 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to take 4 rows and click on OK.
Okay.
So these are all nothing but my rows itself. Just I
This is
require,
this one you did in the HTML and the design view. Okay.
yeah, design view. So I don't want to write a
Okay.
code itself. Just I have a facility. That's why I'm using this. If you are intended to
Okay.
do also, you can do, and you can write a table and all those things here itself. Okay.
Okay.
So now, so toolbox here I have. So just I want to take some labels here. Label. Okay. Similarly, I want to copy the same label here. And similarly, I want to copy the same label here. So just I want to take text. Okay. So I want to take
So you just do Control C, Control V to
yes, Control C,
copy
Control
the
V.
label.
That's it. Yes.
Okay.
So I want to provide some text to the particular label. So just I am using enter first number. I'm using. Okay, under first number. So just give a proper names for the IDs of a particular labels. Just give LBL first number. Okay.
Okay.
So next I want to change for second label also. LBL second number. Sorry. This is enter second number text. Okay, you understand the difference between ID and text, right? ID is for the
Yeah.
purpose of referencing purpose, and text is for
Okay.
purpose of
Display.
text is for the purpose of visibility.
Okay.
So here I want to change the text of this label also. This is nothing but my result. I want to display some result here. So here I want to do LBL result. Okay. Here I want to take
Okay.
a few text boxes because we want to user wants to pass some information to us, right? So just I want to take toolbox here. So in this toolbox I want to take a few text boxes. Check where text box is available. This is our text box, right? Simply drag text box here. Just simply copy, Control C, Control V. That's it. Now try to change the IDs of the text box. So for text box, usually you won't pass text because this is a runtime entity to pass some data.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
txt.
ID.
Yeah, txt first name. So sorry, first number, right? First
Yeah.
number. I just give no. So next This is for first txt, second number, and txt
Result.
result. Okay, here I want to take two buttons here, two buttons here. So just this is button, and here also I want to take. Simply you can copy, or just you want to take from toolbox also. That is up to you. Go to the properties of button. So just this is nothing but btn add. Okay. So I want to change this as add, and I want to take this button. I want to take this as a btn clear. Clear. Okay. Here what my intention is. So user wants to pass two input values, and in result when you click on add, automatically addition of two numbers will be provided in the third text box, that is in result text box, that we can achieve with help of our ASP. Okay, so in order to write a code, where we have to write a code, so when I click on add button, I want some functionality, right? Then you have to write in add click event, right? Btn add click event.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just here I want to take a few variables. So int a, b, and c. These are the variables that I required. Okay. So just whenever user is user passes some values to the variables, that I'm reading from here. A equal to convert dot to int 32 of. So earlier in console programming we write like console dot readline, right? But here we have to write
Yeah.
like this. Here where we are passing our input txt, right? Text
The
box,
text box. Yeah.
dot
Yeah.
text box dot text. Okay. B equal to same convert dot to int 32 of txt second number dot text. Okay. C equal to, so what is C? A plus B, right? So here I want to assign this value to the result text box. Txt dot res equal to text equal to C. C dot to string. So why we are going to write to string means always text box expects a data as a string format. Suppose if I use like this means it gives an error. Cannot implicitly convert type into to string. Okay. Always text box expects a data as a string format. So that just I want to use to string method. Okay. So now I want
Okay.
to execute this program. So just I want to pass 23 like 43. So when I click on this add, automatically I will get the result as 66. Okay. When I click on this clear button, I want to clear these values. Okay. So now where we have to write a code? We have to write a code in clear
For
button.
the clear button. Yeah.
Okay. So what are the text boxes that we have? So we have three text boxes, right? We want to clear the value. So equal to,
So you just make it blank
yeah,
quotes or something.
quotes, txt result dot text. Okay. Either we have to use a string dot empty, or we have to use double quotes like this. Anything is okay. Okay. String dot empty or
Okay.
double quotes. So just I want to run, because you have to assign separately also, equal to double quotes, equal to double quotes. So I'm using the
But you
shorthand
can do
technique.
together also.
Yeah, together also.
Okay.
This is a shorthand technique
Okay.
approach. This is a good approach. Um,
Okay.
just I want to execute this one. I'm passing inputs like 18, 17 something. When I click on this add button, I got an output 35. When I click on this clear button, just I want to. After clicking of my button, I want my focus at my first control. Okay. After clicking of my button, I want my focus at first control. So we have one method. Focus means like cursor is blinking on that particular control. So txt dot or
Right.
txt first name dot focus. Whenever we are using a focus method automatically, so my focus will be available at your first.
Okay.
So here also there is no focus is there. So I want to make my focus is at first control. So if I do something in page load, which is applicable at the time of loading of a page,
Okay.
some cursor is blinking on first, right? So 23,
Yeah.
45 something, and I click on this third button, I will get this output. When I click on this clear button, I will get this thing. Okay, in this way, like we'll do the basic programming. Okay, basic programming operations with the help of our ASP.NET. Okay, first what we have to
Okay.
do is like is your Visual Studio is ready? I mean, did you install your Visual Studio?